Okay, we're going to record this, and this is going to be a real basic explanation of how to do this business, really. Um, and Pia, if you could tell me if you see the first slide that popped up.
Yes, it's coming. Yes.
Okay, just has my name.
Yep.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to mute everybody out temporarily here so we can record this. Okay. Okay, so this is a training that I've done for corporate events. And let me see, why am I still hearing? Let's see, hold on a minute. There we go. I've done it for corporate and field events. But there's something very different about this business than normal businesses, and I'm going to try to share a little bit of it with you. So we have a remarkable product, all right? It's a breakthrough product. There's nothing like it. We have patents on the product. So, no one else is going to have it for a very long time, and the company has so much research and development going that more products are coming. And it's led by people with principle and business integrity, which is really important. Brilliant business people. Vertus Norton, there you see the corporate staff, right? The corporate executives, the CEO, the president, the VPs, and there's Tyler Norton. And that's the old headquarters. The new one everybody is going to see when they come in September. So we have the products, we have the people, we have the patents, and we have the timing. I mean, we're really just getting ready to hit this thing. We're very, very early. So a lot of people would think, oh boy, we're going to make a lot of money with this, but that does not equate into dollars. All these pieces together are there, which we're very fortunate. Trust me, there are a lot of companies that are missing one, two, or all three of these things. We have everything, but does that equivalent turn into dollars, equal dollars? No, not really. There's more. Because making money in this really depends on two factors. It always comes down to two things. And I tell people this, knowing that most people are going to be lacking one or the other. I think coming to convention is the most important thing, because then they know everything to know if they fit this category. It depends on two factors. One is, how motivated are you? Being very motivated is extremely important, but even that is not enough. Because number two factor is, how willing are you to learn? This is a very, very different business. It's how coachable are you, right? So I titled this PowerPoint, this presentation, Network Marketing 101. Just the real basic things about network marketing. And many of you have seen this before, because, when people get involved with this, a lot of times they just do their own thing, and they don't realize there's a proper way to do this and reasons for doing it that way. And when they're doing their own thing and they're not getting results, they wonder, well, why, what's me? It's me. I can't do this business. But they never took the time to become aware of something. Because once you become aware of it, once you're made aware of it, things are very obvious, right? The world is flat. Columbus goes around the world, and all of a sudden, oh God, it's round. Of course it's round. To everybody now, it's obvious the world's round. But back then, it was not obvious. So here's a simple little example. Everybody in the world pretty much has seen this logo, FedEx. Very few people noticed that there is a purposeful arrow in this logo. There's a little arrow, and until it's pointed out to you, like it was to me, I never knew it was there. So if you're new, look and see if you can see the arrow in this logo. If you don't see it, look between the red E and X. Look right here. There's an arrow right there. Now, it's always been there, and it's on purpose. It's a delivery service. It's always been there. Most people would never notice it's there, but it's there. Now, every time you look at it, it's going to be very obvious. It's going to jump out at you. So how can we relate that to network marketing? Well, network marketing is a very, very unique business. And if anybody wants to create real significant residual income, then there are certain musts. There's certain things you must do. Number one, you have to have a crystal clear understanding of why you're doing this business. What is it that the business will do for you financially? What stress will it relieve in your life? Now, I'm going to go through these one by one. Number two, you have to make a decision, and it's got to be a committed decision that you're going to do this. And you're going to do it and give it at least a year. I mean, it's at least a year, and along the way, you are learning. Now, in that year, you will have the opportunity to attend a convention, which is the most important thing that you can do. But you got to make a decision. Three, you have to be self-motivated. And I put on here C number 1 above. The only thing that's going to motivate you is your reason why. That's what's going to motivate you. Number 4, you must be coachable. You must be a student. You must say, okay, I'm not really sure how to do this. Let me go to the most successful people and find out what they did, how they're doing this. And I'm just going to do what they did. 5 is understand and grasp 3 fundamental concepts and 2 facts. I'm going to go over this in a minute. 6, you have to become very good at 2 skills. I'm going to go over that. 7, you have to be organized. You have to be organized person, or you have to become organized to a degree. You don't have to be obsessive compulsive, but you need to be organized or you're going to have a real tough time in this business. 8, you need to attend events. You need to plug into what's going on, your team's and company's infrastructure that's in place. So for instance, me doing this every Tuesday, I'm doing this whether you're here or not. But if you get guests to this, and they get guests to it. I do this mainly for Europe because it's evening for Europe. We have our own thing here in the evening. We have 400 people on it last week, right? 400 portals plugged in, and many of those had people on their seats, 8, 10 people. There were probably 1,000 people who saw the presentation last week. We have 4 of them. Right now, Europe, you guys, I'm doing it once at 7 o'clock at night Swedish time. So this is an example of people that are coachable and motivated. They're going to get people to this event, either in their house or they're going to Zoom in long distance. Number 9 is be consistent and persistent. It is not something you do once a week, talk to people once a week, and I'll talk to people on Tuesdays. It's something you have to be consistent and persistent at. So going back to number 1 is, what's your why? You have to identify why you're doing this business. And it's not about money. It's not just about how much money you're going to make. Right? It's critically important to put deep thought in this and write it down and hang it where you can see. And what do I mean? I want or need substantial passive residual income because I no longer want to stress about blank. Write some things down. I don't want to stress about having enough money for retirement. I don't want to stress about not being able to take my family on vacation across the ocean. I don't want to stress about having to work until I'm 90 years old. Whatever it is that stresses you about money, think about it, don't ignore it, and write it down. And also, hey, I always want to be able to do some things that money is going to allow me to do, because it's not just about the money, it's about what the money can do for you. It can allow you to do some things. What can you do for your family? What can you do for society giving back with money? And then make some goals, right? And I say 3 years. When I say you give this at least a year, you really should give it 3 years. But if you go to a convention, a year is going to be enough to have you locked in to realize, okay, I can do this. So set some goals. What do you want to be making a month by the end of this year, by the end of next year, and by the end of next year, right? And sign it and date it. And this is your goal sheet, right? And this is your why. This is, if you ever feel like, oh, 4 people in a row said I'm nuts, they're not interested. You go back to this sheet and you look at this and you realize that this is going to happen with it, without you. We're doing these meetings with it without you. People are going diamond with it without you. It's going to become mainstream with or without you. Everybody you know is going to find out about it with or without you. Then if that doesn't motivate you, these things here, then you're just going to miss it. And that's okay. But if you want motivation, this is what's going to motivate you. Next on the list was number 2 was make a decision. And this is a beautiful quote. And if you have a camera, I advise you take a picture of this screen. This is amazing quote. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is a fact. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy. I mean, fully committed to something. There's hesitancy. The chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative, there is one elementary truth, that ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. The moment one definitely commits oneself to something, they fully commit to it, providence moves. Things start to happen. And it's with any decision, it's with anything. You're going to your son's graduation, right? and it's 300 miles away. You know, you've made the decision, you're going. And unless you're in a horrible car accident or you physically can't go, you're getting there. You know, if you can't afford the plane fare, you're going to drive. If you don't have a car, you're going to take a bus. But you've made the decision, you're going to your son's graduation, you're going to get there. It's a committed decision. That's the way you treat this business. If you want it to pay you 6 or 7 figures a year, you have to have that kind of commitment. Even if you want it to pay you, say, $50,000 a year, it's not just going to happen. You have to make a firm decision, right? Okay, next is you have to be self-motivated. We talked about that. What is it that you don't want to stress about anymore that money can help? Money doesn't buy you happiness, but it does alleviate some stress. It can make you comfortable so that you can pursue things that make you happy instead of worrying about making money. And also, what do you really want to be able to do in your life, right? The next number was be coachable. In this business, you were in business for yourself, but you were not in business by yourself. People know how to do this. The successful people on your team have done it. I've done it because I just listened to my upline. I didn't reinvent the wheel. I did exactly what Trish said. But most people come into this type of business, and this is what they do. Ready, shoot, aim. They don't know what they're doing. They just get excited and they start doing it. Well, you know what? That doesn't really work, does it? You don't usually hit a target when you do that. But this does. Ready, aim, shoot. Yes, that's what you want to do. So how do you get coachable? What do you do? Well, there's a book you can read called Go Pro. It's right here. I got it in my hand. Read this book. Read it 3 or 4 times. This is a simple book to read, and all of a sudden it hits you. This is a very simple business. You're coachable? Read the book. Jeannie is on the back office that walks you through triple diamonds and above, designed it with coaching tools in there, right? This is a big one. Tie into your team's calls and trainings, right? Tie into the charge-up call and things, everything. Attend events, especially big ones. You guys in Stockholm get events. Every few months you get a big event. The people that don't go, they're not serious. Unless they've got something really, they're not going to a big event when it comes. They're not serious. And you have to understand it's a numbers game. You could have about 200 people in your group and 20 people come, right? And they each bring a guest. So there's 40 people there. That's a lot. You know, you have 200 people, 20 of them come. That's 10%. You're like, oh God, the other 180. That's just the way it is. Most people are not motivated. They don't have enough belief in this to give it full commitment, not full-time commitment, but full commitment to do what's needed. Coming to convention. So many of you are coming over from Europe. It's a long way, but it's critical. And it's not just Asea. Read Go Pro. This book is like, if you don't go to your company's convention, then you're really not in the business, honestly, and you're not modeling for your team. Your team members won't go if you don't go. And then that you shot them in the foot. You shot yourself in the foot, and they've shot themselves in the foot because of you. Here are the 3 concepts and 2 facts that are so important. And I'm going through this pretty quickly, so forgive me. The concepts, the 3 concepts. 1 is duplication, 2 is simplicity, 3 is leverage. If you can't duplicate yourself in this business, then you're not going to build a business. If you're a real good salesperson and you sell people, or you're a doctor and you tell your patients to get on it, great, you're going to get a lot of people in, but they can't do what you did. They're not good salespeople. They're not doctors. So they go to tell people exactly the way you did with them, and they fall flat on their face. They get frustrated, and what do? They quit. They keep drinking it. They keep putting it on their skin, but they don't do the business anymore. Duplication is paramount in this business. And simplicity and leverage is how you get duplication. You keep things very, very simple. You don't explain mitochondria. What you do is you're using your mouth and your emotions to get people interested, and then you leverage tools. You leverage tools. What do I mean? Today is a tool. There are no guests on here today, right? But this is a tool for you guys so that you don't have to explain everything. If you know every Tuesday, a medical professional board member in Triple Diamond is going to be doing this event at 7 o'clock with or without you, then all week you should be focusing on getting people, watching a video, getting them interested, getting them plugged into this, and also holding one in your house. Host one in your house every Tuesday night. Leverage this tool, right? Because you don't have to talk. I'll do the talking. I'm gonna be third-party validation. I'm gonna answer questions. You're leveraging a tool. In this case, it would be me. It could be a video. It could be the convention. These are key concepts that people have to understand. The 2 facts that I want to talk about. 1, the power of events. There's no way to convey the power of an event. If you haven't been to the convention as number 1, the biggest one, you have to be there. Do whatever you bunk up with other people, share rooms, do whatever you stay in. Just get there. Once you're there, then you understand the power of it, right? If you have people in your team that say they're not, you tell them once, ask them, nah, not going. Go back to them. Leverage somebody else. Do a 3-way phone call. If they have a reason why they want to make money, and they're not coming because of time or money, lack of, then they need to be there. What's going to be different next year? They're not going to have money. They're not going to have time. But if they build the business, they're going to have residual income, and then they can travel when they want to travel. They're going to make money when they go away, right? So the events are critical. Live events like this we're doing tonight, and also the power of live events. And the other fact is it's a numbers game. You know, this business is about bringing, like I said, 200 people in your group and 20 come to an event. That's the numbers. If you only bring 20 people in, then you're going to have 2 people showing up at the event. So you need to bring in a lot of people and do it the right way, because it's going to boil down to a few people that are really serious. And if you know how many aces, you're looking for aces in this business. How many aces are in a deck of cards? 4 out of 52 cards. You know, most people, if I tell you you're going to make $1 million on each of those aces, they're going to turn over the card and there's a 10. No, it's not an ace. A 2, not an ace. A 5, not an ace. A king, it's nice, it's not an ace. Turn it over. If you knew they were going to get $1 million for each ace, they're not going to stop after 5 cards and say, oh, I can't find any aces. But that's what people do in this business. They share it with 1 person, no, 2 people, no, 3 people, no, 4 people, no, 5 people, no. I quit. It ain't going to work. The next card could have been the ace. And that's what you have to understand. It's a numbers game. Now, the skills you have to get good at, there are 2 really important ones. One is you have to be a good listener. You have to learn to ask questions. You need to find out what problem does a person have that this could solve their problem, right? And that's why I shot the 6 Reasons video. 6 minutes, 6reasons.com. It makes it easy for anybody to ask questions. Say, here's a doctor on the medical professional board. He looked at this because his father was very sick with a prostate issue. And he speaks all over the world. And he boiled it down to this great 6-minute video. I just want you to watch it. And you tell me which one of these 6 reasons is of most importance to you. It's all about the person you're talking to. So I'm helping you ask the questions, right? So they watch the 6 reasons. You know, are you interested for health reasons for yourself, for health reasons for someone you love? You want to look younger, athletic performance, being proactive about your health, protecting it, or this is patented, there's an opportunity. Which of these 6 reasons is, then you just listen. It's asking questions and listening. Now, I helped you ask the question's pretty easy. All you have to do is listen. And if they say they have an autistic child, then that's all you're talking about. You're not talking about the money. You know, if they say their father had a stroke, that's all we're talking about. We're not talking about athletic performance. So asking questions and listening is really important. There are books that you can read that teach you this. Listening for Success by Steve Shapiro. GoPro has a lot in there about that. Attitude Pack you can order from Asea store. You can get it on Amazon. It has both of those items in it. The second skill you need to be good at, this is important, and I've done it 50 times on this call. I've already done it. You need to be a good promoter. You need to promote things. You need to promote tools. You need to promote events. You need to promote conference calls. You need to get people to review these things. You need to get people to attend these things. And you get better and better at doing it if you are able to tell them what they will get out of this, right? How it's going to help them with their problem, right? Like tonight in the US, Dr. Rob Ward's doing a webinar, and I'm getting people to that. It's like this guy, he's the one that put together the site, theredoxdoc.com. He's brilliant. He's being interviewed by Trish Winkler, the #1 earner in the company, and he's just a brilliant doctor. You need to hear this because you told me your father has this issue. Or new associates that need a bigger belief, a better understanding of the product. He's going to explain it. So as an example. So you got to get good at promoting things, promoting people. Next Tuesday, am I back? Yeah, I'm back from New York. Next Tuesday, I'm going to be doing this at 7 p.m. So all week, promote, get people to this. You know, if you promote it to 20 people and you get one person, well, it's better than having none. You got one person that I'm going to be talking to, doing a PowerPoint, explaining it and answering questions. But it's got to be, you got to do it. It's being consistent and persistent. If you're not organized, you better become organized, because when you ask Pia, how do you start? For Nancy, you make a list of people that you know. You're going to go through and you're going to create interest with an initial phone call or being with them in person. You're going to leverage a tool, right? And if you're with them, leverage pictures, leverage the 6-minute video, leverage the power of Renew 28. If they have pain, have them put it on 3 times in 5 minutes. You got a 90% chance that they're going to be surprised as heck in just a few minutes. But the bottom line is you verbalize and write down your reason why you're doing this business. You write your list, you contact people, you leverage a tool, you set a time for a follow-up call. This is the business. This business is make a list, invite, leverage a tool, follow up. Some people are going to know right away after the first follow. You're going to know right away. They're in, they're out, they need more information to make a decision. That's fine. You may get referrals. Some people you're going to follow up several times with, right? This is why you need to be organized. You can introduce this to 20 people today, but if you're not prepared to follow up with them, don't bother introducing it to them. You have to follow up. But number one, to build your business, just one level, but to build it deep, you are training them from the moment you call them, not when you make the list, but from the moment you call them and say, hey, this is David, Susan, I got to talk to you for a few minutes. You got a few minutes. I'm training Susan. Down the road, if she says, I want to do this business, David, what do? I want to be able to say, Susan, listen to the charge up call every day. They talk about ALIFT, A-L-I-F-T, attitude, list, invite, follow up, teach your team to do the same thing. Remember, Susan, I called you that day and you were interested. I told you to watch the 6-minute video. Yeah, remember I called you the next day. I had Pia Erickson on the phone with me, or Zoom. As a third party, I introduced you to her. She answered your questions, yeah. And then you signed up. Now you see the product works. You're ready to do it. That's how you do the business. Hold an in-home in your house every Tuesday night. Every Tuesday night, you invite people to your house. You keep doing it until somebody that comes says, I want to do one in my house next week. Then you go to their house and do it if they're local. But make Tuesday night your business night. And in the US, it's Thursday night. So this is the basics of this business. Plug into your team's infrastructure. I told you that before, mentioned it. You need to have belief to have rock solid confidence, like Pia, like me, like Tor, like Monica, like Britt Marie, like Dorothy. There's no shaking us. We know that this is going to become mainstream. We know that everybody's going to find out about it. But when someone's new, they don't have that rock solid belief that this is right for them, that they can do this. They have to have belief in 4 things to have that. And the convention's big for this. 1 is they have to have belief in the product. 2, they have to have belief in the company. 3, they have to believe in network marketing. And 4, they have to have a belief in themselves. And this is the hardest thing to do. This is why you plug people into the events that are taking place, right? I mean, I guarantee you, those of you that are here that don't have a guest on, this is helpful for you. You're plugging into what's going on. An example is if anybody's ever built a fire on the beach, right? So you're on the beach, the ocean's there, and you're on the sand, you build a fire, now you got it really going good, right? It is hot, right? It could be a cold fall night, but you're next to that fire, you're nice and warm, right? Well, what happens, what's creating most of the heat is not the flames. What's creating most of the heat are these embers. They're red hot, right? They're hot as heck. Well, what happens when one of these embers pops out of the fire? So if you look over here at like these little ones that have popped out, what happens to them? They're glowing for a while, but because they're not close to the fire anymore where the action is, they start to cool off. They get cooler and cooler, and then they just go out, and they're just black and they're cold. This is what happens with people in our business if they don't plug in. They don't listen to the charge-up call. If they don't plug into the team meetings that take place, if they don't go to live things, if they don't go to the events, then they're like that black, cold ember. They're dead. But if they're plugged in, the cool thing about this black ember that's just a piece of, like, not ash, but it's still, if you throw it back in the fire, what happens to it? It starts to glow again, right? So people can get charged up and back in the game by listening to the charge-up call. Now, the charge-up call is not just for that. The charge-up call is training. It's everything. But being plugged in is key, and it's recorded. So people can listen to it anytime, chargeupcall.info. They can hear the last 5 calls, right? The last thing was be consistent and persistent. The same thing with the deck of cards, like I said. How many aces are there, right? There are a lot of kings, queens, jacks, all kinds of cards. You got to keep turning over cards, and you'll find the aces. But I will tell you that a 7 may not be an ace. They may never be an ace because they're just not committed enough. They don't believe in themselves enough. But that 7 could introduce you on a 3-way phone call to an ace, and you have to be aware that that ace exists because the 7 isn't going to train the ace properly. You need to be there to plug them in, to introduce the ace to the diamonds and the upline, because the 7 or the 4 isn't really doing it, right? This is the key. Everyone you know is going to find out about this. There's no doubt about it. It's a matter of from whom do you want them to hear about Asea. So if you're persistent with people that say no now, but just be pleasantly persistent. Keep them in the loop and always, always, always be adding names to your list. Always be having conversations with people, meet new people. Don't get stuck on your original list, right? Because again, there are only so many aces in the deck of cards, and making this decision is the most important thing. It really is. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. You've got to be bold. And the more you're not bold yet, take the gel, go see 10 people that have pain, have them tell you what the pain level is, have them shake up the tube and put it on 3 times in 5 minutes and wait 10 minutes. I guarantee you're going to get bold. When you see 9 out of 10 people look at you and say, oh my gosh, that is amazing, you're going to get excited. Now think beyond that. Think if you had 10 people in your group that went and did that. Now you've got 10 people really excited and bold. Now they're not scared to call people. Now they know what they've got, and they know that people are going to find out about it anyway, and their attitude is, I want them to find out about it through me. So I'm going to stop the recording here, but that's the presentation on Network Marketing 101. Hold on for questions.